9440, a 4404. 9445,
All right, welcome back, crime fighters, for another edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted, the program where you get to help make Calhoun County a better and safer place by helping this guy, Sheriff Matthew Wade, lock up some of the bad guys. I'm your host, Chris Wright. Sheriff, good to see you again.
Always good to be on the show. It's sweltering summer heat that we're having. I know people will probably hate me for this, but I like the winter better. I'm not a humidity person, so you can tell by looking at me for that matter. But,
yeah. I'll take whatever season we've got and be happy with it. But my dog's not happy, Gracie, because we're not taking as long and as many walks as we used to.
I can understand that.
Yeah, even if you go out first thing in the morning, by the time you get back, you're soaked in sweat.
Absolutely, it's important to stay safe and stay hydrated. Talking about being safe, I just want to kind of talk to everybody about if you travel the 431 corridor up through Alexandria, if you're going through Gadsden or coming back to Anniston, that speed limit there is 65. A lot of the last week had a meeting with Alabama Department of Transportation, and a lot of the citizens want it lowered to 45 through Alexandria, say what we call Wright's Dairy, Melrose Hill, all the way to just north of 144 Highway 431 intersection. There's tons of businesses there. I mean, just a bunch of
A lot of traffic in and out off the highway.
Coming in and out, crossing the highway. We've had lots of complaints of speeders. For the past several months, we've had deputies assigned whenever possible from 6 to 8 in the morning and from 4 to 6 in the afternoon on that stretch from Wright's Dairy to 144, maybe a little bit north of that. And from July the 1st to the 10th, they did over 60 traffic stops. And they are writing tickets for speeding. Most of those tickets have been in the 80s and 90s. People are coming through an area of that really congested businesses doing 90 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's no secret to law enforcement that people take that speed limit and think, okay, I got 10. And there seems to be, I'm not going to ask you about it, but there seems to be some truth to that you're generally not going to get pulled over within a certain range. That doesn't mean you're immune from it, but once you get past that level, there shouldn't be any complaints. Have there been any complaints?
I have not received a single complaint from anybody getting a citation. Of course, we don't write citations for money. We don't get any money from that. The county commission, I think, gets $8. That's $8 is what they get from a traffic citation that we write.
Which really doesn't even cover the work of the deputy writing it up, doing the paperwork.
This is not about a quota. This is not about earning money. This is purely about getting people to slow down through that stretch of road. And this is not the only stretch of road we have complaints on. We're doing directed traffic enforcement and others, but if you see those deputies out there in the morning and in the evening, they will pull you over. They will write you a ticket. The best thing to do is just slow down and do the speed limit, which is 65, which is very fast going through that area.
So a lot of areas we think we got that bump of 10 miles an hour, but when you got a place like that in Alexandria where it's really contentious already, that the speed limit is probably, in my opinion at least, probably higher than it should be.
I agree.
Then you might want to forget about that give me 10.
You're right. And here's the thing, we've had numerous people get killed in that area trying to cross the roads. 204, 431. We've had numerous people. It's a very deadly stretch of road, and we want people to be safe. We want them to not get hurt, and so this is all about safety. And they're going to write tickets. They have been writing tickets. They've been doing it for several months, and we're going to continue. And our whole goal is to change people's driving behavior on that stretch of road.
All right. Let's talk about what our viewers have done here. Did we arrest anybody this week?
Never let us down. Only one. Next week, I expect to get the other 9 for this week and 10 more for next week. So 19 next week, but this week we have 1. It brings our count up to 4,429 people put in jail, all because somebody was willing to help us, and we appreciate that help.
All right, we'll take a look at this week's lineup, or at least the first half of it, when we come back on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. All right, let's get started with this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. If you see someone you recognize and have information that can help us locate them, please contact Calhoun County Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414. This week we start with Amanda Morris of Decatur, Georgia. She is wanted on failure to appear warrants for theft of property, 4th degree, and criminal trespass, 3rd degree. Narciso Avendano of Huntsville is wanted on a probation violation for possession of a forged instrument, second degree. Michael Nunnally of Anniston wanted on failure to appear warrants for pistol, carrying without a license, and use and possession of drug paraphernalia. Latarius Harrell of Anniston wanted on a failure to appear warrant for first-degree possession of marijuana. Chad Golden of Anniston wanted for failure to pay for use and possession of drug paraphernalia. Melissa Schaefer of Jacksonville wanted on a failure to appear warrant for permitting dogs to run at large. Stephanie Hughes of Alexandria wanted on a failure to appear warrant for theft of property, fourth degree. If you have any information about these cases, again, please call Calhoun County Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414. We're not done yet. We'll have the second half of this week's lineup coming up. All right, we'll have the second half of the lineup in a few minutes. Right now, Sheriff, we need to find out about Tristans Ride for Autism. It's coming back around again.
You know, every year he does such a good job with that, and you know, autism is something that you know, is something we wish we could figure out.
Absolutely, yeah. My wife and I started this years ago to kind of give back to the teachers and, you know, get them anything they need for the classrooms. It's grown bigger and bigger every year. This year we're really excited about everything because it's grown. We're hoping to the biggest year we've ever had, and so 3 school systems are going to get involved with this. So it's going to be really good for us to kind of give back to those teachers, give directly to the classrooms to where they can do the things they need to do.
All right, let's step back for a second and
Sure.
let everybody know what this is. You're Herbert Vanetta. A lot of
Yes,
folks
sir.
know you as Skeeter. They,
Yes,
they
sir.
see you up there at the top of the river, helping make sure they get some good food.
Absolutely.
But you're also, you've basically become the local face of autism in this part of the state. 20 years ago, would you have imagined that was going to happen?
No, and you know, having an autistic son, you know, has only done anything but make me feel younger. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of different things. You know, we never looked at Tristan as being, well, he's disabled. No, he's a normal kid. We just got to learn things a little differently. So for us, you know, we have parents come up to us, my wife Lori and I, and you know, they ask us questions, and we try to give them, you know, advice we had. And things have changed so much in the last, you know, he'll be 15 this Saturday coming up. So things have changed so much in those 15 years that there's so many different outlets for parents to apply to look for to get the help that they need.
You're talking about he just learns a little different. We all want our kids to be their own unique selves.
Absolutely.
We all want them to be different from other kids in some ways. We want them to be kind of like us, most of us. we really like our kids to have some of our probably a few qualities that we hope they don't have.
Yeah, don't want to have.
But it becomes a challenge when they learn differently from us and from other kids. It's a challenge for parents and for teachers.
Absolutely. And the thing is, you know, you like Tristan, for example, right now he's into making movies and doing all this stuff and recording things. And, you know, before that he was into building things. And it's just, you kind of find out what he's really interested in or find out what your child's interested in, just like any other normal parent. And you feed it. You just try to give as many options as you can, different ways, different materials to kind of hone those skills and see what you can get out of it. And that's what it is.
I imagine when you're first finding out that your child is autistic, it can be very frustrating leading up to that diagnosis of the things that you think should be working aren't working.
Yes.
But once you find out, oh, this is why, and people who know these things are able to give you some pointers and say, well, try this instead.
Absolutely.
It makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
It does. And just as we've always said, every one of these children are different. Every one of these kids are different. You know, so what may work for one may not work for another one. So that's why there's so many different question marks when it comes to autism or special needs, because you can say, okay, well, this, like I said, this is going to work for one kid, but you try it on the same other kid, no, this ain't going nowhere fast. And those teachers and those, you know, parapros and all that, they need the equipment and the material to kind of, they got to approach every situation different. And that's where, you know, we come into play, and that's what we do.
Yeah, and my wife has been an educator for many years, and, you know, you go into the classroom and she says, sometimes we get these programs that want us to do the same thing with all these kids, and it just doesn't work.
That's right.
You've got to be, when you got these kids in there that have all learned different ways, it becomes more of a challenge, but it's important to meet that challenge. And Sheriff, you see why it's so important to meet that challenge from a unique perspective, don't you?
Absolutely. You know, especially dealing with somebody with a different grasp on learning. It's not just autism, but people with mental disabilities are, we don't know what they all have, so it's important to us for us to learn differently of how to deal with people as well. Everybody's different, and that's what makes the world so great.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we've always looked at Tristan as being just a lot of fun. He has always been fun with us. We've discussed this 1,000 times on here. He didn't even speak until he was at 4.5. He only spoke 4 words. Now he's progressed through the help through the teachers and through the help through the parapros and different things. He's progressed up to where he's about a 7-8-year-old level now. And so it's a lot of things that have come into play to help him along the way that we want to be able to go, okay, look, here, what else can we do to help you? And, any parent, what can you do to help the teachers or even at the house? Take what they do at school, bring it to the house.
Success is all relative. Some people want their kids to be doctors or lawyers, but we all want our kids to be successful in whatever that success is, whatever it is that drives them, whatever it is that task they're trying to get. So it's not all about being that doctor or lawyer. It's about that success of whatever's important to them to get to where they need to be for their life to be good.
And there's so many programs now that even after high school that these kids can go into. JSU has a program now that, special needs kids can go to JSU and attend college. I mean, and there's just so many different options now that it's becoming more and more of a thing that's not so much shunned away, but people are opening up. They're seeing it. They're going, oh, look, we can. They don't have to just sit at home. They can do things. Let's get them involved in the community. Let's do things that help these kids out and progress them on through even into adulthood.
So I think for a long time we had a mindset of you're not college material. For a lot of kids that really are college material, but the colleges themselves weren't educational material for these kids. Absolutely. And the colleges are starting to figure out, okay, this is how we can expand and take this kid and give them something that somebody a couple of generations ago would not have had the opportunity to do.
Yes, and like the little things that, these kids, and especially even, well, I can just say for Tristan himself, the architecture part of it, he can take that goofy game Minecraft and he's made the whole Hogwarts castle from there, from one little block. And you look at it, it's amazing. I wish I had a picture, it's amazing. He's done Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, and you go into every single room from inside, but outside, if you pull it out, it looks just like the factory. If you could take that skill and put it into something that's like architecture, different things, imagine the options you can do. Imagine the things that they can produce.
It's huge. So, of course, the event that we've got coming up is Tristans Ride for Autism. This is what year now? How many years have you done it?
We were actually making jokes. We lost track. We're trying to remember. I think it's 8 or 9. I know it's either 8 or 9, but I can't remember which one it is.
All right. So this year it's going to be a little bit different from what it's been in the past. We need to take a break here for just a second. Okay. But when we come back, I want to talk about the ride itself and what's going to be the same this year, what's going to be new this year, and the reasons why it's going to be bigger and better than ever when we come back on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. And here we go with the second half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. Kiana Griffin of Dothan is wanted on a failure to appear warrant for possession of a forged instrument, 3rd degree. Roderick Reed of Wellington wanted on a failure to appear warrant for receiving stolen property, 3rd degree. Shakori Cross of Anniston wanted for failure to appear warrant for possession of marijuana, 1st degree. Brandy Sullivan of Anniston wanted on a probation violation for receiving stolen property, 3rd degree. Kelvin Caver of Anniston wanted for failure to pay, burglary, 3rd degree. Melissa Freeman of Anniston wanted on a probation violation for possession of a controlled substance. Carrie Easterwood of Anniston wanted on a probation violation for possession of a controlled substance. Again, if you have any information, please call Calhoun County Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414. We want your information, not your name, and you could get a cash reward of up to $1,000. In just a few minutes, we'll have the Crime Stoppers segment of the show to talk about some property crimes. All right, we are back. We'll have the Crime Stoppers segment of the show in just a few moments, as you just heard. But right now, we're talking with Herbert Vanetta, a.k.a. Skeeter, about Tristans Ride for Autism, which is, what's the date on this?
It's going to be July 20th. It's going to be coming out of Mount Cheaha Harley-Davidson. They got involved, and it's just been a blessing in disguise. Them guys have really done a lot. You look at Hayden down there, Tim Hooper, part of the Hog Group. Couldn't have asked for better things. They've got us all hooked up. and just really, really have pushed this for us to where it could be something huge.
Now, because it's at the Harley-Davidson dealership, that doesn't mean that you have to be riding a Harley, right? All bikes are welcome.
No. And all bikes, like always, all bikes are open season. You know, anybody can come on down, have a good time. They've done so much for us on this one. You know, we're gonna head out there about 1 o'clock. Registration's gonna be at 11 on that morning. You can start at 11. They're gonna, and when we get back after a nice little ride, about 67 miles. There'll be Ben Horsley in the contraband. There's going to be a band playing. There's going to be food trucks. There's going to be different setups, a 50-50 raffle. So whatever you put in, half of that could, you know, come back out back to your better benefit. Door prizes, just a lot of things that after the ride we can sit back, enjoy ourselves, have a good time, and the option to make even more money for Tristans Ride and make this the biggest year it's ever had.
Yeah.
So.
You said food trucks, Sheriff and I start, okay, you may have to borrow a bike.
Some people like motorcycles, some people like pizza. You know?
Whatever it is. But it's been a blessing. Those guys have really jumped on board for us, helped us out a lot. Of course, the local businesses that have been along for the whole time. You're looking at Top of the River, of course. You know, they've always been a big contributor of this. J Supply Company, Dr. Herndon's office down at Alexandria Medical Clinic, they're big involved in this. So it's a lot of people that really see this in the community and say, hey, look, this is something that's going to go to a good cause. And so,
and specifically that good cause, and in this case is the teachers who are specifically working with these kids that have the special needs. It's not going in to support some big high in the sky program.
Absolutely.
This is ground level. Hey, teachers, what do you need?
Exactly.
Go get it.
It's Calhoun County, it's Alexandria schools, Sachs, and Wellborn schools this year. So all three of those schools are going to get money from this ride, and all three of the schools are going to have anything they need. You know, whatever we can produce, we don't make a dime off this thing. Any penny that's raised, we split it evenly between the three schools. So that's what we say. Hey, look,
you won't get that for giving your money to anything else. So.
Exactly. We're just going to it's strictly for them. It's never was about us, I guess you might say. It was always about how can we help our community? How can we help these other kids? And when Tristan graduates, we're going to continue doing this thing. This is not something that's just going to stop because he's not going to be in the school district around here. We're going to continue this on forever.
All right, so before we wrap up,
yes, sir.
How can people sign up or make a donation if they maybe even can't come but they want to contribute?
Absolutely. You can go to our Facebook page, Tristans Ride, the number 4 Autism. We have all kinds of options there, and you can contact us directly. We've had that. You can come today at the ride, July 20th. Like I said, we'll be setting up at 11 and pretty much be there the rest of the time, and you can make donations there. Even after the ride, of course, school hadn't started back yet, so whenever everything's going, if you want to contribute after the ride, you can do that as well. We'll have T-shirts for sale. Actually, the little logo on the hat is actually the back of this one. We'll have T-shirt sale. Every proceed from that goes to the ride. Anything that anybody gives, any dime, anything that can help these teachers get as much as they can, we're going to do it for them.
That's awesome. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Say hi to Tristan for us.
Oh, I will. I'm actually heading that way next.
All right. We will be back in a moment. We will have the Crime Stopper segment of the show and our Crazy Criminal of the Week on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. Now it's time for the Crime Stoppers segment of our show, where we talk about some property crimes committed recently in Calhoun County. And fortunately, our list this week is a little bit shorter than it has been. We'd like for it to stay that way. Between July 9th and 10th, a vehicle was illegally entered on Nature Trail in Jacksonville. A Smith & Wesson handgun was stolen. And on July 10th, between 6 a.m. and 2 p.m., a steel trimmer, steel combo unit, or steel combi unit, a pair of size 12 brown muck boots, and a yard sprinkler system were stolen from a utility trailer parked at a residence on Halls Chapel Road in Alexandria. If you have information about these cases or any other cases, please contact Calhoun County Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
All right, so our crazy criminal this week, Sheriff, we got an individual who got pulled over for DUI. And I don't think he actually claimed that he was innocent, but he was trying to say that he shouldn't be arrested because he was from the future and had traveled back in time. And they asked him...
Was he in a DeLorean?
he was not. This is not the actual
Oh.
time travel device that he used.
Well, if he was in that, I probably would have said, okay.
But he was trying to convince the officers that he had traveled back in time from 2019.
Okay.
You're still in 2019, and he's showing them these the jars of things from 2014 that he had in his house that were expired.
That's when you're so drunk. It sounds like a good idea.
So it did not convince them that he was not guilty of DUI.
Yeah, I could see that. It makes for a good story, though.
I think they also found some psychographic type drugs as
Yeah,
well. And,
psychedelics.
yeah, so.
Well, if it had been in a DeLorean, we just would have said, okay, we call it even.
So if you're going to use the time travel defense, you must be driving a DeLorean to get away with it, at least here in Calhoun County. That's all the time that we have for you this week. We'll be looking for you again next week or sometime in the future or past, but hopefully not in the lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.